Assalamualaikum. My name is Muaz bin Muhammad Munir and my partner,
My name is Muhammad Aqil
and we will present about our lab, build a switch and router network.
Okay, first thing first, we have to draw the topology that include two PC, one 2960 switch, and one 2901 router. Okay, we will connect the PCA to S1 by first connect 0 at PCA, and then connect it to F06 at switch 1, and then switch 1 to router 1, we have to connect the F05 to G001. For router to PCB, we have to connect the G000 to fast internet. Okay, we have to connect it by the copper straight through cable, and then we have to configure the IPv4 and IPv6 address by referring to the table. Okay, for PCA, the IPv4 address is same like the table. We have to include the default gateway, and then IPv6 2001 is 1 64, and then the default gateway. Okay, that's for PCA. For PCB, the same. IPv4 192.168.3.0.3. Okay, same default gateway, and then the IPv6 and the default gateway. Okay, and then for router 1, you see here, the IPv4, just refer to the table 192.168.0.1. And then that's for gigabit Ethernet 00. For gigabit Ethernet 01, 192.168.1.1. That's it.
So next we go to the first step, which is SDM at switch. We go to the CLI. First of all, write enable. Then we go to the SDM, which is the code is show SDM prefer. The function is to display the active SDM templates that defines how the switch is optimized. Next, go to the configure terminal to enter the global. Then we write SDM preferred word, IPv4 and IPv6 default. And reload. After the SDM, next we go to the initialize and reload the switch. The first code is delete flash plan.dat dat, and yes, confirm. Next code is erase startup config and reload. Yes, reload. So basically the function of initialize and reload switch to initialize and reload the device back to their default configurations.
Yes.
Same goes to router. We need to initialize and reload the router too. So the code is erase startup config and reload. So before we continue to the router configuration, we need to connect the console from PCA to router 1 and PCB to switch.
And then we got to start our configure for the router.
Okay, first enable to enter the privilege asset mode. Then config terminal. Config the device name, host name, which is R1. So the new host name is R1. Next we go to no IP domain lookup to disable DNS lookup to prevent the router from attempting to translate incorrectly entered command. Next we go to the enable secret class line console 0 to secure user asset mode and enter the password. So which is our password is Cisco and log in. Next exit. Next service password encryption to encrypt all plain text password. Next we go to the MOTD to display the message. Message is authorized only.
Then we got to end it with the hashtag.
So the next step is configure and activate both interfaces on the router. So the first code is interface gigabit 00. Next IP address based on the addressing table, IPv6 also, and then no shutdown, and exit the program for interface gigabit 00. After we complete the interface gigabit 00, we do the interface gigabit 01. Same like interface gigabit 00, the IP address and IPv6, we just refer to the addressing table. After we configure and activate both interface, and then no shutdown and exit the program. Indicating which device is connected to it. So first code is interface gigabit 01, and the next code is description connected to fast internet 05 on switch 1, and then exit the program. Same goes to the interface gigabit 00. The next line is description connected to host PCB, and exit the program. the next step is to enable IPv6 routing. So we need to enter the command IPv6 unicast routing. After enable IPv6 routing, we need to save the running configuration to the startup configuration file. So the command is copy running config startup config. And then we need to set the clock on the router, clock set, our time, and our date. The next step, after we complete the configuration of router, we need to test the pin between PCA and PCB. So we test at command prompt. So next, we will configure the switch. So the first step is switch enable to enable privilege as mode, and then enter config terminal. Next we go to the assign the device name to the switch step, which is our host name is S1, and then no IP domain lookup to disable DNS lookup to prevent the router from attempting to transfer currently entered command. Next we go to the configure and activate the VLAN interface on the switch S1. So the coding is interface VLAN 1, and the next line is IP address 192.168.12, and the subnet mask 255.255.255.0, and then no shutdown and exit the program. And then we need to configure the default gateway for the switch S1, which is the default gateway for switch S1 is 192.168.1.1, and then we end the program. After we configure the default gateway, we need to save the running configuration, the startup configuration file. Next step, we will verify connectivity, end-to-end connectivity from PCA, ping PCB, and from switch 1, ping PCB. Next part, we will display device information. So in this part, we will show commands to retrieve interface and routing information from the router and switch. So we use the show IP route command on the router R1. So this is the IP route, and then show IPv6 route command on router R1 also to display the IPv6 routes. Next, show IP interface gigabit 01. Okay, so this is the interface, IP interface for gigabit 01. And next, we enter the show IPv6 interface command. So this is the IPv6 interface gigabit 01. Next, show IP interface brief command on the router R1. So this is the IP interface brief on router 1. So to see the IPv6 interface information, we need to enter show IPv6 interface brief command on router 1. So this is the IPv6 interface brief. For the switch S1, on switch S1, enter the show IP interface brief. So this is the IP interface brief.
And then we get to look that the up is in the 05 and 06 port and VLAN 1.